Back here on the Morning Magazine on News Talk 1150 and 97.5 KRMS 3027,000. Our telephone number 1-877-330-1150. Also live, L-I-V-E, at krmsradio.com. Richard Riggio, concerned citizen, here with us this morning, talking about a topic near and dear to him, namely the fact that maybe, and I know you don't want to ruffle any feathers, nobody ever usually does, and we try not to, trust me, but this may be something to take into consideration if you're in the business of buying boats, if you're in the business of maintaining boats, something that regular, average, everyday consumers may not be aware of, and that is what the end result can be if you have bad fuel lines, or if seals aren't good, all kinds of different things. What is there a standard in the industry where they say this is the best material? I'm sure things have advanced quite a bit in the years you've been involved in the boating business, but is there a standard in the industry where they say this is the best material to use? And do you guys get involved in switching those things out and making them better?
Oh yeah, as far as upgrades to the systems, the manufacturers such as Mercruiser, Volvo, any of those manufacturers will let you know if there's a situation with the service bulletin right away. Obviously the basic fuel intake hoses are all have a certain rating for them, and I always go myself with the most high quality, expensive one. Most people don't have any problem with paying for that high grade hose, and once again it goes on and they double clamp it. There again, these are awesome questions, and like I said, most folks are working in their own fields every week. They don't know about what's going on unless they ask about it like this. So I know that I can keep myself on the top of the shelf with the best parts I can get them, and this is what I want to do, and I'm very proud when I have this stuff. And several of our rental companies here, they buy a fair amount of parts from me, and once again, I'm glad to have that product available, and they're looking out for the safety of their renters, and all the boaters out there can know that all these high-quality products are available, and a lot of good qualified technicians out there to put them on.
Sure. What's the average life? I mean, it could vary, obviously, but how long before you say to yourself, this is something I need to get fixed for sure? I mean, is there a year span that you have? Is there a season span that you have on most fuel lines? Is there something you're looking at as far as time-wise is concerned?
Yeah, obviously, over the longer period, the hose can get dry rotted and damaged, but my feelings are to have it inspected each year, not just for wear, but to see if by chance those clamps have come loose. Also, too, every vessel out there, new, old, or otherwise, is worthy of an inspection, because, as you know, our boats are pretty much getting bounced around a lot, and it's just such an easy thing to do. I recommend to do it every year. But as far as, like you said, the age of the hose, that can last, well up to 5 years or better. But what the heck, for the sake of just seeing what can happen, and I don't want it to happen.
Sure. And used boats, is there anything you look for? Do you address that with the people that you buy it from, or who really holds the responsibility for that? Because you can be handed something old and not really know.
See, there again, I think if you're going to license your boat, this is just my opinion, it should be inspected as well. But there again, this is not mandated. I think it should be. If anybody has any suggestions on how to get that done, that's fine. It would be, in my opinion, cheap enough. All of our cars and trucks out there get inspected once a year. But, obviously not for that. But as far as the boats go, there are no inspections unless you want to have them do it. So there is an option to have that done, but it's up to the customer. I think that every chance, if especially on a used boat, that should be inspected. You should have the technician go ahead and they'll check out to make sure you have good compression and no leaks in your drive and so forth. But I would recommend that highly too. There's really not that many factors. Obviously, you don't want the boat to sink either, so they'll check for leaks. But that to me was, like I said, when I saw the video of a gentleman that had fueled up at a local gas dock, they had it on video, and I knew it was an inevitable, and he parked his boat fine, and then the firefighter that taught the class was on the scene at that accident. And so, it was a big impact on me to say, that could have been avoided. All it did was that silly hose had fallen off, and if it could just be inspected and then checked, and the customers, if they could be known of that too, and have the technicians show them, and they can get in there and look at it once in a while themselves.
Sure. Now, what's the difference between a PWC hose and a boat hose? What are the big differences there? Location obviously is one of the big things. Yeah,
location. It really may be a little bit different sized hose, but still a pretty good sized hose. That's also about the same installation. It's held on usually with 2 clamps, which is a good safety system. One of the things that a technician could do, but it's only my recommendation, is to put some, they call it torque seal. It's basically a paint that goes onto the screw that tightens that clamp, and it will show you if there's been a break in that seal for that screw on that clamp. It's really about the same system. And I remember you had mentioned you'd heard about an accident a while back on a PWC where the same thing. It's so hard to see that unless a person gets underneath their deck and looks at that hose. And like I said, our technicians are well qualified to do that. That's pretty much what they do for a living, is stand on their head and keep us safe. And like I said, so those folks don't have to worry. They work hard all week. They just want to come here and if they're either go-fast boats or just, cruisers or a small runabout, whatever they got, they just want to have a good time, and they've earned it. They do not deserve to experience or even see anything like that happen. So if I could cut this down at all with our conversation, and the accidents will come down a little bit, I'd feel better. Like I said, I just couldn't sit and see what happened and not have something to say. And thanks to you folks for having this opportunity.
Not a problem. I mean, that's what we do. We address concerns of citizens, and that's what you come to us as. So it's good information for people to have, and something to look forward to in the future, possibly a consideration, and maybe not coming directly out of this, but maybe people that want to push for some sort of an inspection policy. Maybe not mandatory inspection policy, but hey, you know what? We get certified by the Highway Patrol, Water Patrol Division. We go through these steps and make sure that everything's safe.
Right.
It can't be a negative.
Exactly. Like you were just saying, if there's one way to get that into their regiment every year, a lot of boat manufacturers and engine, they just recommend doing a water pump impeller every 2 years, just to be on the safe side. We recommend doing it every year. So there's no chance of overheating. Obviously it's a little bit more money for them, but these are worries they can take out of their head. And that's what folks want, so that's what we're here for.
Sure. Peaceful boating.
That's right.
Everybody wants that, and we don't want to recover it in the news department either. We hate to hear about the explosions. Obviously, when these things happen, you never really know why, but it always seems to come down to boom, the ignition, fill up with gas, boom, there you go, explosion. Nothing major so far this year, but a couple different accidents where they had boats catch fire, and also PWC explosion. So, get information, Richard Riggio. If people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Pretty much, there is a email at parts@boatozarks.com. That's the best way to reach me.
So parts@boatozarks.com?
Yes.
Easy way to get a hold of you. I appreciate your time today, sir, very much.
Thank you.
It's been enlightening, and it's one of those things you don't think about very often, but maybe in the future it could be something that can come up, and obviously the state has to get involved somehow. And, I lived in St. Louis for a little while, and I know about the whole hooking your car up to the emissions monitor system, which fell by the wayside after a while. So hopefully this may be something positive that people actually can get on board with. But appreciate your time very much today.